Hey team, how we doing? Mike here from Sell Your Service. There we go. A few technical issues as we start here. Today, I want to talk to you about how we're going to land maybe your first or maybe your next at least $25,000 client. This is a really classic kind of framework that I've been using to help people land high ticket, 10, 20, 30,000, $40,000 clients. Hey guys, by the way, this is live. Hello. You'll see in a second, like the time and the date and stuff. So I think the number one reason that people struggle to find $25,000 clients is because they're not looking in the right place. And really what I want to do with you today is show you where those clients are, or at the very least, show you where we can at least start to look for them. So you guys should be able to see my little screen here. Excellent. Hey, Stephen, how you doing? My focus for us today, I've got kind of three core focuses and three things that we're not going to have to do. I want to help you find a $25,000 client and know where you're going to look. I might need to move this, won't I? Maybe if I put myself down here. There we go. Where to find a $25,000 client. And by the way, guys, send in your questions if you got them, or leave a comment, however you want to do this. I also want us to show exactly what they're going to buy so that you'll know what the offer is, so to speak, in order for you to make the right kind of copy and material and offer to them. And I also want to show you where these clients are hiding out. So whereabouts they're hanging out. That's what we're going to be doing on this call. What we're not going to be doing is focusing on ads. I'm not going to do anything with ads. You don't need ads to do this. You also are not going to need to create mountains of content. And we're also not going to be doing anything like cold calling or spamming. This is all above board. This is logical, makes sense. It's easy to follow. And so if you want to grab a piece of paper, that would be my advice. And then we can actually get started learning how to do this. So this methodology I've used to help people find clients. I used it to find my first clients. I still use it now. Hey, Yusuf, thanks very much. Appreciate the kind words. Finding a $25,000 client requires three things. And the first thing I need us to look for is cost. Now, what I mean by cost is this is actually how much money you're going to make. So if we look at the center here and say that our target is a $25,000 client, cost is something that we're going to have to take into account. And there's a few ways that we can do this. To me, I think the number one mistake that people make is they look at a $25,000 investment. And let's say that you've never, ever sold anything for $25,000 before. That's fine if you haven't, by the way. And you might be thinking, but what should I include in that? So these are my scales. And we know that the client is going to be paying us $25,000. What most people will do is they think, well, in order to balance this, I need to have loads and loads of what they call value and what I call stuff. So when I typically ask people, if you're going to charge $25,000, what does the client get? What do they get? I usually get answers like this. They say, well, for $25,000, And maybe you want to follow along with this. Maybe this is the stuff you're thinking of. The first question I want us to think about is, like, what do they actually get? It costs them 25 grand. So what do they get out of it? And they say, well, I'll do their website. We'll do their email. We do their copy. We do SEO for them. We do their social posts. What else would we do? Do their ads. We do their hosting. And this is all just stuff, right? These are all just things. And the reality is, this is not what justifies a $25,000 price tag, because whether you like it or not, you have to accept that you putting a $25,000 price tag on your services, it needs to look like a steal. Your customers need to go, oh my God, it's only 25,000? Buy now, click buy now, sign here. And when we pad out our proposals and our offer with things, with stuff, essentially things that can be easily replaced or changed, we don't create any value. None of this gets added here. This is all featherweight stuff. This simply will not balance the equation. And I can prove it to you. Because if we did all of this stuff and it didn't get any results, it doesn't matter how much we invest on our side. If the client isn't getting any results, they're going to think that 25 grand was a waste of money. And so we need to tweak how we think about our pricing. And by the way, what I see a lot of people do is, this is a really common mistake. And I'm not calling anyone out in particular on this, but I do know a few of you on the call, I've seen you guys do this. You'll see something like that's quite cool and new, such as AI, and you'll say, that's it. That's the thing that will suddenly sort of balance this. And what you have to remember is this won't. Finding new, do you remember when automations came out? And you could like create with Zapier and like Pipely and all these kind of amazing automation tools. And everyone's like, this is the future, because I can just I can automate all these amazing things for my clients. And all of a sudden, like with the chatbots, and they'll be able to send like SMSs and all these things, it will completely revolutionize it. And yeah, it didn't really like help anyone sell anything. People implemented it and people certainly sold it, but it wasn't like this thing that made things easier to sell. Because the question we're really asking here is, how do I justify a price of $25,000? And we'll break this down. So the way that I like to start this is, there's two ways of us kind of breaking down the price. My favorite way is to look at a $2,000 a month like process and say, hey, it's $3,000 for the first month, and then it's $2,000 a month after that. Or if you were to break it down in another way, maybe you do like a classic sort of 50, 30, 20, which is like you charge 50% up front, then 30%, and then 20%. It's doable on $25,000. Personally, I would cap that at like a $7,500 deposit personally, and then I would work out the rest. But however you want to do it, it's fine. But let's say that in the end, ultimately, they have given you $25,000. We need to make sure that whatever money they give us is returned to them at least 1.5 to 4 times. Now, this will be variable depending on the rest of the things we go across. So when they give us $2,000 a month, we need to make sure that that essentially is equal to or less than, let's say, a $4,000 a month income. So they need to get $4,000 ROI out of it. If they give us $2,000 a month, we need to give them $4,000. If they give us $25,000, we should be able to get them $50,000 back. That's roughly sort of what we're looking at. These are the sort of returns that we want to look at, because I want to be able to say to my client, when they say, okay, what do I get? What do I get I'm going to give you 25 grand. What do I get in return? I'm not going to worry about all of these things here. I'm going to say, we're going to get you 50 grand in return, basically. And so we need to now start thinking about, well, what does this number look like? Or this number look like? How does this look to our clients? How do they get a return out of it? So in order to balance this, we actually need to give them over 25,000 in return. The things, the ways, the methodologies, the delivery is completely irrelevant. This doesn't matter. So we already know now roughly that I'm going to suggest you guys start on $2,000 a month. I think it's a nice, easy number. I think you can get some good results for people. You can get results of them within 30 days. This is how we need to start. And trust me when I say you need to know this in order to find your ideal client. And here's why. The next thing that we need to look at is what we call our audience. Now, bearing in mind, we already know that we're looking to get them roughly a $50,000 ROI. Now, some people will get higher than that. Some people will get slightly under that. But you need to be able to say to the client, and this is so, I don't know, fundamental and simple. I don't know why people overcomplicate this. If you want something that is extremely easy to sell, make it easy to buy. Okay? When I say to someone, yeah, we typically get our clients $50,000 ROI, that to me makes $25,000 or even $2,000 seem like an incredibly reasonable opportunity. Go, yeah, great, sign me up. That sounds good. Let's do it. And we'll talk about this. And so when we think about a $50,000 ROI, we've got loads of different areas that we could be looking at. But we know, oh my God, if I need to get someone 50,000 ROI, are they going to be selling seeds online? Maybe. I mean, seeds sell for anywhere between, I don't know, $2 and $4 a pack, which means that I need to sell anywhere between 20 and 30,000. I haven't done the maths right there. 10,000 and 5,000, 50,000, 5,000. Sorry. Anywhere between 10,000, 20,000, 50,000. No, it is 20,000. Anywhere between 20,000 and 5,000. There we go. 5,000 and 20,000. Can I get them those types of results? So I've got some questions here. Like, how do I learn to deliver the results I promised? This is, I'm teaching you how to get the results. This is how you do this. You work backwards. This is how you do this. And so you think, shoot, could I help online seed sellers make $50,000? Probably not. I would struggle with that. Okay, great. So we're going to discount them. So who do we know that we think would relatively easily be able to make $50,000? Maybe coaches, consultants, anyone in the medical profession. So like dentists over here, I know how much they charge. Software, sponsors. So when I say sponsors, what I mean by this is an audience who makes their money predominantly through sponsorships. So could I help someone get 5 $10,000 sponsors? Could I help them get one $50,000 sponsor or 10 $5,000 sponsor? Maybe. I want to basically look at all the different areas, the different markets. Now, this is not your niche. This is your audience. These are the groups of people out there who have the potential to make $50,000. This is how you need to start thinking about your clients. Do they have the potential to make $50,000? And when we think about that, we go, okay, well, there's probably some other caveats in this as well. This is one of my favorite exercises in the world to do, this one I'm about to show you. This one here has literally made me millions. This one here is crazy, right? This was taught to me by the OG Frank Kern 100 million years ago. So the way that I'm actually going to split this out just into two is if I had to get someone $50,000 for someone else, what would they need to have already to make it easy? So if I had to make $50,000 for someone, what would they need to have already to make my life way easier? Let's say hypothetically, I couldn't get paid until I'd made them $50,000. What would they need to have already to make my life easy? I mean, for me personally, I'd want them to have at least a $10,000 product. I want proven sales. I'd need them to have a list of probably around 25,000 people. Now remember, this is to make it easy. This is to make my life easy. And I'll talk about why this is so important, okay? Because a lot of you right now will be thinking, well, if it's easy for me, then it'll be easy for them, so therefore there's no value there. And that's just not the case at all, right? Just not the case at all. $10,000 product, proven sales, 25,000 people on an email list. I'd probably want them to have some kind of social following. I want them to be open to raising their prices. They probably need to be doing at least 500,000 a year already, and anywhere between 50 to 100 previous clients or customers. And by the way, you guys should be using things like ChatGPT and Claude and stuff and plugging this information in, and it will tell you who to go after. It'll literally list out, you should go after, I don't know, there's some other ones I've got written down here. Memberships, like exclusive memberships. Who's got a lot of money on the line? Events, they've got a lot. Sports marketing. Who else? People with massive audiences, like big podcasters, YouTubers. So I need you to ask this question. If I had to make $50,000 for someone else, what would they need to have already to make it easy for me? To make it easy for me? Because the type of client that we're going after, sorry, you guys know I love my diagrams. They need to have the budget. They need to have the money. All right. There is absolutely no point in us going after people who don't have the money. They'll have an audience like this, and they will have no time. This is a clock, right? The ideal client is someone over here. Maybe I'll do that as a little point like this. This is an ideal client. Okay. Someone who has money and time, lots of spare time, they might sound like an ideal client, but actually there is no pressure. So they will want to tweak things and tinker with them. They'll want to be taught how to do it. I want to work with someone who doesn't have the time. So when I go in and look at their business and I've identified, okay, great, you're a, let's say you're a high ticket spa lounge. okay, and your treatments are anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000, and again, it's not quite a $10,000 product, but fine. Can I help this person get 10 new $5,000 clients? Probably. They're a high ticket spa. They've got proven sales. They've got an email list. And again, maybe it's not 25, maybe it's 10,000 people. Fine. They've got a social following. They're open to raising their prices. They've got all of this. I would say, oh my God, I don't know how you're not making more money, because that's my job. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to work with them and I'm going to put it into place. If they've got an audience, great. But if they don't, that's not the end of the world. I'd rather work with someone who has a budget. What you have to understand is that when you're working with a client, and we'll talk about this in a second, if your offer is, I'll help you get X in Y time, that's the result that you're saying that you can get them. If you qualify them and have a conversation with them and you realize that they do have the budget, but they don't have a great audience, they don't have any time, they're kind of around here, you can say to them, I think we'll be able to get you results. I don't think we'll be able to get you £100 million in 30 days, but I do think we could probably get you £10 million in 30 days, or 100,000 in 30 days, or 50,000, or whatever it might be, or 8 clients. You can temper your expectations depending on the quality of the client that you go after. But that's not the job of the offer. The job of the offer is to get is to get leads and to get eyesight and to get eyeballs and to get attention. Don't qualify them yet. So our ideal client is someone who has budget. Ideally, they're here on the point, right? Someone with lots of time and lots of audience, but no budget. This is what I call an untested market. Do you know why so many influencers with millions and millions and millions of followers have no money? It's because they're in an untested market. They've learned how to capture free attention, but they've got no idea how to monetize it. That is why you don't want to work with people who have got time but no money, because they have an untested market and it can take months to test the market. I want to work with people who've got budget, mainly, more than anything, and maybe a little bit of audience. But if I had to choose, I would just focus on budget. It's as simple as that. And so when we look at this here, our audience, we now have a pretty good understanding of who it is that we want to target. And maybe you personally have already got an idea of an audience or a person or a type. And there's so many types of niches you can go after. Your audience is not your niche, but there's so many that we can go after. Maybe we want to go after people who only sell on webinars. That's an audience type. We don't care about what the product, but that's the audience type. So we want to find out who has got $50,000 on the line. Who could basically make $50,000? Now, to me, that means that I'm not going to be working with most PTs, as in personal trainers. They just don't charge enough. I know how much my personal trainer, I know how much my coach charges me, and I would have to work 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year to get them the types of results that I could get a high ticket corporate performance coach or some kind of corporate trainer. Like, their packages run from 5,000 to 10,000. Can I get them 10 clients, 5 clients? 100% easily, especially if they've got these social followings. And so now I've got an understanding of who these people are. So what do you think I'm going to do? Back in the old days, I would just Google that over and over and over. I would Google that term. Let's say that we've decided to go after, let's make our life easy, high ticket corporate performance coaches. These are the types of people who we would typically call executive coaches. And their products range anywhere from 10 to 15,000. I'll talk about that in a sec. That's a good question. about the saturation of the market, right? This here, I think, could I get them 5 clients, 10 clients, 100%. Now, what I would be doing is I would be plugging that into ChatGPT, and I would say my audience is high ticket corporate performance coaches who are executives. They're open to raising their prices. They've got roughly a turnover already of 50,000, 500,000 a year. They've got 50 to 100 past clients. They've got a small social following. They've got an email list. They've got proven sales. They've got a high ticket product. Where do they hang out? Where are they? Go into DeepSeek. Go into 4.5's research mode. Hell, I'll show you here. I like 4.5 for research. I don't know why. Maybe I can be told otherwise. I'm targeting high ticket performance executive corporate coaches and consultants who charge at least $15,000 for their program. They've got proven sales and an email list with a small audience, and they are open raising their prices. Where do they hang out, and how can I target them? Now it's going to ask me a bunch of questions, and maybe we'll come back to this. Partnerships, sell. We're looking to sell. We're looking to sell to them. Online is best, but I'm open to offline. US markets only. I don't know. And I want organic right now. So I'm going to let that just like work away in the background. It's going to do its thing in terms of its deep research. DeepSeek is like a free alternative for this, by the way. And we will be told where we can target them. And here's how we now craft an offer. This is really, really important. So we've got our cost. We now know that we're probably going to be charging $2,000 a month, right? I think that's a good number to start with. Our audience has now been figured out. The blend between audience and this next one is what we call our niche. This is what we call a token. This is where most people get mixed up. We have already figured out that the way to sell a $25,000 package is not to tell people, well, it comes with funnels and a website and webinars and email and automation and copy and all these amazing things. And we've got this brand new AI chatbot, and we're also going to do all these other amazing things. None of that matters. We say to them, you give us $2,000, we're going to give you $4,000 or $5,000 back. It's really as simple as that. So our token needs to identify, well, what does that look like? Don't overcomplicate this. When I ask people, what do dentists want? They usually come back with one of two answers. Their first answer is something like, they want authority and trust. They want to be realized within their market. And I'm like, that's not what they want. They don't want any of that. They think that that might be a pathway to what they want. But what they actually want is patience, as in people, right? Specifically, if we now take some of these formulas, they want patience. They're going to give them $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. Coaches, what do they want? What's their token? They want clients. Now, you might think, well, yeah, but aren't they the same thing? Yes, they are. But to that market, they're two completely different things. Two wildly different things. One of the kind of consultancies that I used to work for was basically what we would call disaster recovery. So basically what we would do is we would sell servers that automatically backed up your other servers. And if everything went to hell, our servers would kick in and continue feeding data back to your data center, right? It was just like a backup and protection method, but we're talking about for like HMRC and the British government and stuff. So this is one of my like kind of first kind of jobs, right? Disaster recovery, really, really important, because when you're running like Transport for London and you've got trains and buses and all this type of stuff, you can't afford your service to sort of not work for a few seconds. It has to be, at the time, the term is called hot swapping. So you just have, oh my God, it's down. Don't worry about it. Disaster recovery kicks in and that will take care of it until we can get it back online. What did we want? When we were going out looking for money, what did we call that? We called that projects. Have you landed a new project yet? Are you working on the new project? Are you working on the White House project yet? How much is the White House project going to cost? Now, these projects were in like the millions of dollars, right? Or pounds, I should say. Millions and millions and millions of pounds. But the point is they had their own language. They had their own token for what they called money. Make no mistake about it. Businesses want money. Can't even spell it. There we go. Money. They each have their own language for money. It's as simple as that. Software wants subscribers, right? That's what they want. They want subscribers. Now, if we tell them we can help you get $4,000 a month in subs, that to me seems like a pretty good deal. I would pay for that. Because I'm like, oh my God, you're going to just give me $4,000 a month? Yeah, excellent. For subscribers, awesome. Here's what's really interesting about this. You will see this happen to you all the time. Now, there are tangible, good tokens to go after, and there are soft, weak tokens to go after. Hard, tangible. These are good ones, right? We want them over here. Money is a good one, right? Specifically, the token, the language that your clients use, plus money is about as strong a token as you can get. If you were to say to someone, if you only sell on webinars, okay, it doesn't matter what you do, I will help you sell 100 new $2,000 courses on your webinars. That is a specific token for whatever it might be. If they are, well, let's take the seeds one, right? We will help you sell 5,000 seed packages a week to your clients or your customers, whatever you call them. That sounds like that's strong. What people try to do, and the mistake that almost everyone on this call is making right now, is they will move towards softer, weaker, less tangible tokens. They will say things like, we'll get you leads, we'll get you audience. Do you know the biggest red flag to me when someone emails me is, obviously we do a lot of stuff on YouTube. We're on YouTube right now. And they'll say, hey, Mike, I'm a thumbnail designer. I can help increase your subscribers. And I go, awesome. That has demonstrated to me that you know absolutely nothing about YouTube. Because if you did, you would know that in terms of all the metrics that I measure, subscribers is almost meaningless to me. Now that is inside knowledge, interior lingo that only someone obsessed with their audience, not with the delivery. So when we look at this sort of balancing act over here, if someone is obsessed with the audience here, they would know that subscribers is not something that YouTubers chase, not serious ones who make money. It's a meaningless statistic. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't increase anything, doesn't decrease anything. It doesn't give you anything, right? Whereas if they said, oh, I'll help you get return viewers. Now I'm thinking, oh, this person does know what I want. They know the token that I'm interested in. Nothing is more off-putting to your leads. You're better off not saying anything to them. But if you give them the wrong token, such as subscribers, you'll completely put them off. When we look at things like leads, audience, views, in the hopes that, well, they'll convert them into sales and revenue, they won't. Possibly, I would say to someone, I'll help you get leads if I knew that their sales process worked. 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, whenever I've gone into a business who says, we need more leads, we need more leads, we need more leads, and our previous marketing companies sold us leads, it's not their leads that are the problem, it's their sales department. One of my first sort of like corporate consulting gigs when I was starting Sell Your Service is I worked with a company that resold Office 365. And they were constantly saying, we need leads, we need leads, we need leads. Now, at the time, because I was young, naive, green guild, wet behind the ears, whatever, I went into their database and we did some ads, we did webinars, we did events, we did all of this stuff. And yet their sales stuck at basically the same rate. No matter how many leads we got them, right, it was like this. The leads went up, their database exploded, and yet their sales basically stayed consistent. Why is that? That gap there has got nothing to do with the leads. It's the sales process. So sure enough, when I took a look at their sales process, I realized they would only call 1 to 2 times. They were very weak at handling objections. And I realized I could generate these guys 1 billion leads and they won't do anything with them. So possibly if I knew they had a really killer sales process, I would sell leads to a company. Most of the time I don't. I sell them money. That's all I'm interested in selling them. Similarly with views, let's say I was like a YouTube consultant. I said, I'll help you get more views. I would only do that knowing full well that they'll have to turn those into leads and eventually into customers anyway. Because if you and I go up against the exact same client and you say, I'll help you get 1,000 leads, and I say, I'll help you get 10 paying clients at $10,000 each, I'll get the work because I'm the one giving them the physical, tangible thing that they go, oh my God, that's the thing we're after. And then what people also do is they go very, very weak and intangible and soft, and they sell things like time, stress, happiness. None of these things are relevant to your audience. They won't care about them. If I said, oh, I can help you build a stress-free, cozy business, or I can get you $10,000 clients, they're going to go with me every single time. So your offer needs to be tangible. So there we go. That is where you're going to start finding your clients and what you're going to sell it to them. I'm afraid it requires a little bit of research and a little bit of work. There's nothing I can do about that. I wish I could make that easier. However, in the meantime, if you do want to learn where to find some more clients, I'm going to link some more videos down below. But hopefully now you've got a bit of an understanding of the types of audience you can go after and the ways that you can start attracting them. Hopefully, for some of you, this has rung alarm bells and you've gone, oh my God, I've got expertise in the software space. I know they sell that software for $500 a month. I can help someone get 10 clients. That's $5,000 a month. And would they pay me $2,000 in order to keep that going? Yes, probably. Excellent. How do I then reach those people? Well, I'll create content and go after them and have conversations with them. And when ChatGPT does its thing in deep research, I'll have a bunch of places that I can target them. Awesome. All right then, guys. I'm going to take some questions. So what I'm going to get you to do is if you want to ask a question, you can throw these in the chat. My advice would be ask good questions. If I can't understand it, I'm just going to skip over it and say, I don't really know what this means. If I can give you one piece of advice outside of this, it would be learn how to ask the most valuable questions you can. Get really good at learning how to write questions rather than vague, open-ended questions. Again, use things like AI. There's so many free ones available and say, I want to ask a question like this. How could I ask this to someone in order to get the most results out of them. That would be the thing that I would actually take away from this. So, let's go. Okay, there seems to be some stock market crash, a lot of layoffs, unemployment, job losses. Does any of this impact finding these clients? Yeah, it does, but there's nothing you can do about that. I can either say, oh God, shucks, it's difficult to find clients, isn't it? You can say that as much as you want, but that's not going to pay the mortgage. The reason I was looking down is because we've had our new mortgage offer come through. It's not going to pay the mortgage, so don't worry about it. It's the world goes up and down. My advice would be focus on the things you can control. AI automation is the most hyped thing ever. Reality is nobody knows how to use them. Tell me about it. I've got no idea and frankly no interest. We don't run the traffic. How do we overcome objections? For example, we sell an acquisition system which includes a lead magnet page, 30-day email. We don't run the traffic. How do we overcome objections? Okay, Yusuf. So this is a good example. A client's not interested in any of that. So that there is a classic example of confusing value with stuff. Okay, we've got a lead magnet page, a 30-day automation and booking sequence. The outcome is more qualified leads, so more revenue. Sell them revenue then. Say we sell revenue. When people have objections, I mean, you want them to have objections because it means that they're interested, but I need to know what the objections are. What is it that they've objected to? So give me some examples. That'd be the easiest way I can answer that. How do I learn to deliver the results I promised? I think hopefully I've covered part of that here. You work with people who can get results. You do not work with people who can't get results. So something that like a lot of people don't really get is if we look at the market, no matter who you choose, it could be everyone from influencers to restaurants, chefs. I know that's two same things, but it could be software. All of this, the 80-20 rule is in extreme effect here to the point where it's 90-10. 10% of the market will have roughly 90% of the wealth and the budget. 90% of the market will have 10% of the wealth. That's just the way it is. All right. If you look at, I'm always fascinated by like the Olympics because you have gold, silver, bronze. And people go, oh God, silver and bronze. Ugh. I'm like, these people are like the top 1% of the top 1% of the top 1% of the world. Like, you think that the market is those three people. It's not. It's thousands of people. Would I rather work with these people? 100%, absolutely. Now, interestingly, it goes more so. Like most of the winnings and success goes to gold because it just goes sort of further and further exponential like that. But don't think that, oh my God, I look at the market and so many people don't have any money. Yeah, they won't. So don't work with them. How do you attract the top 10%? That's all you should be worried about. And I've told you how to attract them. You use language that they recognize and you qualify them to make sure you're only talking with people who have got the things already that would make your life easier. 99% of people who view this content, view this video, talk to me, email me, people on my list, are never going to afford to be able to buy anything of mine. Fine. Doesn't matter. My job is not trying to convert them. My job is trying to find the top 10% of people who can. So 90% then. Question. You've mentioned in a video, the way to get our first client is asking people already know. Yeah, but what if I'm from a lower income country, which makes it too much? Okay. So I do say that you probably should be asking people you already know. You say you're from a lower income country. There's two things I've got a problem with that. First of all, there's a thing called the life lie, which is I can't X because Y. This is the mind killer. This is what cripples people. This is what sends them into depressive spirals for the rest of their life. I can't attract high quality or high ticket clients because I live in a low income country. What you're actually saying is I don't want to attract high ticket clients, and I'll use the fact that I live in a low income country as a good excuse. Because if you're watching YouTube, if you're able to write this type of sentence, if you're able to do this type of stuff and think critically, you know that none of that is true. None of that's got any relevance on it whatsoever. Instead, what you need to think is, I want to attract high ticket clients. What can I do instead? Which in my case, in your case, would be build a network. Start having conversations with people who are more likely to know who you are. Have conversations with them. Don't pitch them. I constantly see people pitching. Build a network. Do something valuable. Do something helpful. Having conversations with the people you know. Do you think the conversations I have with people I know are only within my country? A lot of you won't even know where I live. I live in the middle of nowhere in England. I'm not having literal face-to-face conversations with people. The networks I've built are all over the world. That's what I mean. So when you want to have a conversation with people, why are you immediately limiting it to people that you know locally? And if you're thinking, well, yeah, that's the first step. Yeah, it is the first step. But maybe for you, that first step over here, talk to people you know, you need to build a few things in here. So if we flip this round from I can't attract high ticket clients and talk to people I know because I live in a low income country, let's flip that round to I want to attract high ticket clients and talk to people I know. So what should I do? Start asking that question. I literally said, learn how to ask better questions. Can we get this whiteboard on the site? I'll see what I can do. Yeah. By the way, guys, if you want to get a better insight into this, head to this website, which is go.sellyourservice.co.uk/25k secret. Secret save. Let's show this. There we go. I think that should work. This is basically some training that I've put out. We'll kind of go over this in a bit more detail and a bit more depth and talk about. Here we are. Yeah. Basically, you'll never need to buy another marketing course again. Let me put this in the chat. Ba-bum. I don't know if that works. There we go. Awesome. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it. Good man. How can we justify these prices? We're looking for proven results, but the cost of their coaching program seems a bit too high. I don't understand the question, I'm afraid. Should we work for them for free as they don't believe us for the first time without any undocumented results? So I get this question a lot. So I think you should work for free for some extent, but I think people do it in the wrong way. Here's what I mean by this. Basically, the question is, should you work for free? Here's what people do. We can go after qualified clients still. We can go after unqualified. Let's say that you and I have got the same process and we're trying to get the same results. We're basically trying to help someone make, let's just say, their first $10,000. You go after someone who's qualified. I go after someone who's unqualified. You will reach $10,000 faster than I will, even though I've got the skills and an audience and all the, experience and stuff, and I'm the expert and the guru, right? Which is bullshit, by the way. All right, you guys will know as much as me. You know as much already. What you actually need is self-confidence and self-belief to go out there and start doing things and stop fearing judgment. But regardless, you would be able to go after and help people with $10,000. Here's how you want to work for free. Say to people a very specific, small targeted advice. I'll help you land a $10,000 paying client. And again, you use that same concept. So you would say, high ticket corporate consultants. I'll help you land a $10,000 paying client, let's say in 45 days, right? You need to ask those questions again. What do they need to have already? How do they become qualified? And you qualify the hell out of people. So when you have a bunch of people ask you and you go, yeah, I'd love to do that, 95 to 99% of them, as we've talked about, will be unqualified. Don't work with them, because then you're working for free for people who will never, ever, 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 ever get results. Here's the biggest lie told in marketing, right? This is the biggest lie told in marketing. If you don't listen to anything else on this call, listen to this. The success of your marketing campaigns have absolutely nothing to do with the campaign itself, but the client that it is used on. All right. The success of your marketing campaigns has no bearing on the likelihood of them getting results compared to the types of client that you work with. The type of client you work with is 100 times, 1,000 times more important than the type of campaigns you run. And I can prove it to you. If I gave you a client who was like this at the top, right? $10,000 product, proven sales, 25,000 people on their email list, social following, open to raising prices, $500,000 to $1 million in income, 50 to 100 previous clients. They had no time. They were time poor, but they had lots of budget and a decent audience. You would be able to go into their business and audit them and go, I don't know why you're not making money. I'll help you make money. You need to do this, this, and this. I mean, some emails. One of our clients, I'm not showing you the screen. Sorry, guys. So this part here, if you had someone who was already doing this bit here, right, it would make your life exponentially easier. One of our previous clients, they were basically they were a software company, essentially. They had never made any sales calls. It had all been on advertising, but they wanted to boost their revenue, and they were finding that their ads costs were slowly creeping up and up and up, but their leads were staying pretty consistent, right? I said, okay, when was the last time you made any calls to your top 20% of clients? And they were like, we've never ever done a sales call. And I was like, right, let's stop the conversation here. If I can book you 2 sales calls or book you 2 clients, will you work with me? And they were like, if you can book me 2 sales calls and like close 2 clients, of course we'll work with you. I was like, fantastic. By the way, we're 10,000 a month, right? And okay. I just went through their database and was like, hey, Paul, it's Mike here calling from, SAP. It wasn't SAP. I know that a couple of months ago you worked with us and you spent a bunch of money on some auditing software. I was just wondering how that was going. And they were like, yeah, it was fine. It was okay. I was like, great. Just wanted to let you know we have actually got some changes. And I sold to that client again. They went, great. We'll send through the invoice. And they bought. I think on that particular call, we landed something like 4 sales. And they were still, the lead was still on the Zoom call because I just went through what was making it easy already. If you want to work with someone for free to, cut your teeth is the expression we use in the UK, or to prove yourself, 100% go for it, but still only do it with qualified people. How do we reach out to these people? Don't do cold outreach. Jesus. I don't know how many more times. Maybe you joined this late. Here we go. ChatGPT. Key executive. They've got online peer communities. They've got Facebook groups. They've got LinkedIn groups. Coach-specific forums and communities. International coaching federations. Specialist coaching networks. Finding people isn't the problem. If you know who you're going after, finding them isn't a problem. If you can't find anyone, if you say, we only work with unicycle manufacturers who specialize in off-road unicycles, and you think, well, there's only 2 people in the world who do that, then yeah, there's not going to be a community. If you know who you're going after and you pick the audience, it is exponentially easier. And then you can start creating content, which, by the way, most of you are on this because you can't afford advertising or you can't afford salespeople to go out there and get them. Okay, which is fine. It's absolutely fine. I don't advertise. I don't see the point in it right now. If I know who my audience is, and I know the problem they've got, and I know the token they want, and I create 1 to 3 videos, that will drive traffic in. And you go, yeah, but it would only be a few hundred. What do you care? If you had 5 people paying you $2,000 a month, that's $120,000 a year business that you've got working with 5 people. I would then stop producing videos. I'd be like, fine, I'm just going to work with these guys from now on, which is what we did for years and years and years. We had 30. But that was how easy it is. I'm not even the biggest funnel YouTuber on the planet, and we've got plenty of clients. Build the system. We don't drive traffic. No, that's fine. Afraid this might kill our promise. No, it shouldn't do, because you only want to make sure that you're focusing on selling the offer. When do I know that I'm an expert in one topic and ready to sell an H2O? You are already an expert, Nick, because I will show you. I want you to rank yourself from 0 to 7. 0 being awful, 7 being the world's greatest expert. And I want you to pick somewhere. We'll pick 2 topics, right? Funnels and, let's say, muscle ups. If you don't know what a muscle up is, it's like a gymnastic movement, all right? You pull yourself over the bar and push up. World's greatest muscle up expert is probably, I don't know, Simone Biles, I would imagine. There's loads of gymnasts who will know this stuff better than I do. I would put myself at a 2 then for muscle ups. In terms of funnels, the world's greatest expert, I would probably have to say someone like Ryan Deiss. Right, runs a $1 billion marketing company, knows his stuff. In which case, I'd probably put myself at maybe a 5, right, possibly. Which means, in terms of muscle ups, I'm an expert to everyone who is a 1 and everyone who is a 0, and probably some 2s as well. If I'm a 5, I'm an expert to everyone who's a 4, a 3, a 2, a 1, and a 0. You don't need to be an expert. What you need to do is start becoming an expert in your audience. You do not, and this is critical, your job is not to become an expert in funnels. Your job is to become an expert in your audience. And the way you know you're an expert in your audience, 2 ways. First of all, can you list out 100 problems that they've got? If not, do some more research, join some more forums, have more have more conversations with them, and ask ChatGPT. My audience is YouTubers with 100,000 subscribers and on average 10,000 views per video. And what would you say their biggest problems are? If you read it back and go, I know all this already, that means you're an expert in your audience. That's what you need to worry about. Choosing the niche is the hardest part. Dentists have gatekeepers. All businesses have gatekeepers. Again, that's the life lie. I can't X because Y. I can't get in front of dentists because they have gatekeepers. Everyone who has money, if they have budget at the top here, I like this, they will have more people in between you and the money. That's just how it works. Instead, rewrite this. I want to get in front of dentists, and what I will do is ... Call them up every way possible. Nope, we create content and we have a killer offer. I mean, there are ways. I'll link some more videos down below, but if you want some examples, my friend Mark's just published a new video. Very good. This video here hardly got any views, but it's very good. I think if you're struggling to make money, watch this. That's good. And Make $100,000 for your clients fast if you want to learn how to get results for them. And then probably if you need to make $5,000 in 7 days, watch this. This is a good way on like how to post it and get way to get the audience. So stupid. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I misread that. So stupid question on the expert point. If we become an audience expert, but not an audience, at least good at funnels, how we get them the results they promise. You just have to trust me that that's the way it works. All right. I know people who know way more about funnels than me who have never landed a single client in their entire life. And there's no way they will ever land a client because they have no idea how their audience thinks. Because if we go back to this point here, your audience, in order for you to help them, need to have something already. If you go in and you find this audience here and you become an expert on them, you won't need funnels. You won't need you won't need to dodge bullets. You're telling me I could learn how to dodge bullets. You won't need to learn that. You won't need to dodge bullets. You'll go into someone like this and go, oh my God, I could fix this with like 3 emails and a webinar. The more of an expert you become in your audience, the less you need to rely on very clever funnel techniques. Many of these communities have anti-promotional policies where we can't promote or advertise ourselves. Should we find communities? So I'm curious, are you capable of having a conversation with me without promoting something? Is that a possibility? I'm always fascinated by this. We go, well, there's anti-promotional material. Well, yeah, of course there are. Are you capable of having a conversation with someone that doesn't result in promoting something? Is that a thing? Like, are you able to say, hey, I'm just curious, you want a YouTube channel. What are your biggest challenges with that? And they go, honestly, some of our videos are bangers. Some of them aren't. You go, interesting. That must be really frustrating. By the way, just wanted to let you know, I've got a group. We're hanging out. We're just brainstorming some ideas on that exact same topic, trying to come up with banger video ideas. If you're interested, let me know. I don't know why this is such a problem. Have conversations with people. Build actual networking relationships. Ooh, you literally just made it so that I'm not going to answer you. So there we go. Cool. Is that a well-defined niche? You tell me. You have to go away and research it. Scaling agencies with small team of, I don't know what a scaling agency is, but maybe want to get rid of recommendations and cold acquisitions. Is that a well-defined niche? It's getting there. Yeah, it's certainly getting there. Cool. All right, guys, I'm going to make a move. I got to jump. We've got to go do some stuff, but I hope this was useful. In the meantime, let me know what you think. Leave some comments, questions, all that kind of stuff. Other than that, I will speak to you later. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And yeah, cheers for joining me. Bye, guys. It was fun. Bye.